But it's also self-image. One group has a self-image, the other group doesn't have a self or a negative self-image because they keep smashing the reflection.
I got to interrupt again because like Ray saying, I teach now and I'm in Brentwood. And it was like going through a time warp. I mean, I went to MT and then I went to college and I went up to Buffalo. And yeah, I was prepared for taking responsibility and nobody booted me in the hiney if I didn't do my work. But when I got to the classes, there was all this structure and there was all this, you had to take mental measurements and you had to do student teaching and you had to do all these things. And the classes were very, you know, how to write a lesson plan and this is how it should be done. And it was really almost anal retentive, you know, it was really, because there wasn't any of this teaching a child self-esteem 101. They didn't teach you any of that.
Did you teach special ed?
Yeah, special ed in 9th grade. I got hormones with feet. That's what I did.
We had it for special classes, how to give kids special
They didn't have that at Buffalo State in between 1976 and 1980. It was all paper, 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 paper. How to fill out an IEP, how to do a lesson plan, how to do the testing, and that book, Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, is so true. Because I didn't need mental measurements, and I didn't need knowing how to write a lesson plan. I didn't need any of that, because that's not what school's about today. It's about teaching a kid about consequences and teaching a kid about being responsible for their actions and how to gain self-esteem instead of being so reliant on other esteem. And they don't teach you that in college. I'm taking a course now, 14 years later after I graduated from college, I'm taking a course called Cooperative Discipline. And it's all about teaching a kid to like themselves and not to have to behave in a negative manner to get attention and respect and things like that. You know, it's like being back at MT again, listening to this professor talk. It's really good. And next month I'm taking a self-esteem course, and then I'm going to take a teacher effectiveness training course. Things I should have taken in college, not things that I should be taking now. I should have learned or experienced this stuff before.
Is there anything that any of you who haven't spoken yet might want to say to address anything that's on your mind or any of these other questions, as simple as they may be? I think they're very important. What do you remember? What did this trigger for you, if anything? What was the most important thing you got from that experience? How long were you there?
I have a couple of questions, bits and pieces of all of them, actually. One of the things that I got from Maslow most of all, I think, were a sense of community, a sense of importance, and respect for other people and their differences, and how they were like me in a lot of ways. And I have two kids now who are both in Brentwood schools. I have a daughter who's in 3rd grade and a son who's in kindergarten. And one of the things that I've done is they have these school improvement teams. We were talking about this before. I'm the chairman for the PTA of the school improvement team in Laurel Park. And they're trying to get parents more involved now, which is great, if we can get them involved, because the PTA itself is having a hard time getting people involved. But part of the problem, I think, the kids don't have respect for the teachers. They have no self-confidence. They have no self-esteem. I was saying to John before, during our break, I'll go into my daughter's class, and both my kids are huggers. I mean, they hug their teachers, they hug me. And when I go into a class, my daughter runs out of her chair and she hugs me. And all of a sudden, I have 5 kids hugging me with looks on their faces like, just the fact that somebody will let them hug them is just amazing to me. And to me, talking about helping the kids in high school and junior high is all fine and well, but now, the way things are, to me, it's so important to reach these kids when they're younger, and that's where I try. I mean, I'm in that school. You can ask anybody who's been in Laurel Park how many times I'm in that school, you know. But the kids say, hi, Mrs. Sheridan, how you do this? Katie's mother, you know. And it's nice because they know me, and I make that connection, and it tears my heart out to know that some of these kids are going to fall through those cracks early, not in junior high. I mean, by the end of elementary school, which is 5th grade now, so I'm hoping to try to get more people involved. I mean, the parents are being allowed into the schools again, and the teachers are welcoming help, and it's just so important. And if anybody has any ideas on how we can get parents involved, because we're just ripping our hair out.
Do you remember how important it was to, when a parent attended a class, the whole climate of the classroom changed.
Yes.
And a lot of so-called discipline problems would not exist if there was one parent just visiting, sitting for the day. Changes. Magic.
And if they're helping, not even just visiting or watching, but helping, how these kids who don't volunteer to do anything are right there helping you and looking for more work to do, and just anything they can do to help you. It's so important to me now, and we have to get the parents in, and it's very difficult. A lot of people, unfortunately, send their kids to school so they know where they are during the day. They don't care what they do while they're there. They get on the bus, they get off the bus. What happens in between really has nothing to do with them, and it scares me.
That's another whole issue, is the parents too, it's not just the schools,
Right.
I-
See, that sense of importance and community and respect, to me, that I learned really at Maslow. And I mean, I can't tell you how some of these kids just seem so lost to me. I mean, they're what, 6 to 10, these kids, and it worries me.
It's even sad that the schools feel, or, well, this type of school feels that they have to do something, because it's really the parents' place to do all this, And it's sad that, we have to feel that they need somewhere else to go to get all this, I have found very few people in bringing up my children that, although these people are great as adult friends, I love talking to these people, but they totally ignore their kids. They just, I don't know even why they have them. They have them, and then they don't do anything with them. They don't teach them anything. They don't teach them about self-esteem. It's amazing. I met maybe 3 or 4 other parents in all these years that were like as much as I am. I'm very almost fanatical about teaching my kids about self-esteem and all that, and you just don't see it anymore. It's not just the school's fault; it's the parents' fault too.
To me, one of the biggest things that you can do is to listen to them. And, just having that respect for them and their day and the person that they are. See, I took that from Maslow. And now I'm trying to give that to kids that are just so young. But I really think that some of them, by the time they get to junior high and high school, they don't get it when they're younger. They're going to go through those cracks, no matter how hard some people try.
Steve, I want to ask you to share with everybody else what you put down on that piece of paper, because verbalize it. Verbalize it. Say what you think.
Well, first, I just wanted to comment on the conversation about the self-esteem. Most of the parents who you would want to teach their children self-esteem might not know anything about self-esteem, and they might not have been exposed to it in order to teach, and that's a problem,
Plus the pressures of surviving probably for many parents. They just don't have the time even if they wanted to. How many are working 2 jobs, or both parents working 2 jobs?
I had a mother who worked 3 at a time with 5 kids, and she raised us by herself. But there was always a time when she could listen. I mean, she could be dead tired. And
That's the whole thing. You have to make it as important as your career. I mean,
You can take 15 minutes out of your
That's
day.
absolutely.
15 minutes is fine if you're truly listening to what somebody's doing.
because I know how hard it is. I was going to school full-time, working, and bringing up my daughter on my own at one point. And it was damn hard, but I made the time to always talk to her. And sit down with her, and I made her just as important as the school and the career and everything else.
It's funny, I was telling Grace on the way here, I'm never home. I mean, when you own your own business, you can't turn to anybody and and say, well, I'm sick, I'm not coming to work today. Everybody thinks, oh, well, you're the boss, so you can do what you want, but it's your business. So I'm never home. I mean, I joke around with people, I say my kids forget my name, but those 2 individuals, other than my wife, are probably the most important things to me. And I make time. Both of them. I'll go to the school when my daughter's doing something, and I'll spend as much time as I can with my kids, or I'll bring them to my work. I'll bring them to some kind of event at the garden so that I can be with them. you know, because, you know, it's important. It's, those little people are important. I just think it's weird sitting here and looking at everybody. And
We should bring all of our kids.
right,
Yeah, there you go.
right. I'll tell you, I have
Have a Maslow-Toffler.
I have a group of friends that we've been friends since elementary school. We did all the plays. All those guys you see in those pictures are still friends of mine. We're still together constantly. All five of Steve and Dave and Mike and I are still friends. We spend a lot of time together, and it's wild to see our kids play together. Because we spent so much time growing up together and on the stage together.
See, it is a cult. It is.
And it's wild to see these little people with our names playing together.
And they're your